My whole body ached from being hungry. My stomach made a weird noise and I felt weak. I had no idea what to do or where to go next. I don't remember much after that. The last thing I remember is someone helping me up, and then everything went black. I was homeless and alone on the street. Everyone avoided me, and I had no one who cared about me or my well-being. No one ever offered me food or water. They just kept walking past me like I wasn't there. I wanted to scream out loud, but I didn't have the strength. I don't know how long I stayed like that because time seemed to have stopped. But what I do remember is a pair of eyes looking at me with concern. They were the eyes of an angel. They took me out of my pain and misery for a while. But when they disappeared, I fell back into it. One day, after an intense rainstorm, I found myself under a bridge trying to stay dry. It was then that I noticed a young man walk up to me. He looked around 20 years old, tall and muscular. He was dressed in sportswear and had a backpack on his shoulders. I was too shy to say hello. I pulled my knees towards my chest and tried to make myself as small as possible. I was afraid he would think I was dangerous or dirty. But instead of getting scared, he did something that changed my life forever. The stranger came closer and asked me, "Are you all right?" He was smiling, so I felt safe enough to answer, "No, I'm not all right. I'm so hungry, but I haven't eaten in 2 days," I told him, feeling ashamed for being so weak. "You need to eat something. I'll buy you food." With those words, he disappeared. I thought he'd forgotten about me, so I was very surprised when he came back with a burger and a cup of hot tea. He walked over to me and handed me the food. "Here, eat this. I'm sure it will help you a bit," he said. It was so good. I felt my body get stronger and warmer with each bite. It had been such a long time since I'd eaten, and I wasn't even sure if I could still feel pleasure. But the young man's kindness made me come alive again. "Thank you so much," I whispered. "No need to thank me yet. I also got you this," he said and handed me a warm blanket. "Here, you can wrap yourself in this. You must be freezing. It's cold tonight," he added. I looked at him with gratitude. He had saved me from certain death, and I couldn't thank him enough. I was about to tell him my name and ask him his, but he was already gone. Again, I thought he'd forgotten about me until he came back. This time, he had a sleeping bag with him. He helped me get inside and then covered me with another blanket. "Stay warm," he said with a gentle smile. I felt safe with him around. I knew I wouldn't die from hunger, cold, or thirst, but I still wanted more. I wanted to be by his side, hear his voice, and see his smile. I wanted to be with him. When he left again, I called after him, "Wait, I want to come with you." He turned around, surprised. "What? Why?" "Because I want to go anywhere with you," I blurted out. He smiled and nodded. "All right, let's go." I crawled out of the sleeping bag and followed him. I still hadn't asked him his name, but I figured he'd tell me soon enough. We walked for a while in silence, and I began to worry that he might change his mind about letting me stay with him. But when we stopped outside a large building, he turned to me and said, "This is my home. You can stay here, too." He opened the door, and I stepped inside. There were other people there, and when they saw me, they gasped and stared at me. The young man noticed their surprised looks and introduced me to them. "Guys, this is a friend of mine. He needs some help right now, so I hope you won't mind if he stays here for a while." "Of course not. We're happy to help him," one of them replied with a big smile. They welcomed me warmly and made me feel at ease. When I went to take a shower in a tiny bathroom, I noticed that my hair was dirty and tangled. My clothes were torn and my shoes were worn out. I put on one of my friend's t-shirts and sweatpants and went back to the living room to find the young man sitting on the couch. "Can I help you with anything?" I asked him, but he shook his head. "No, I just wanted to talk to you and get to know you better. I'm Alex." "Nice to meet you, Alex." "I'm David," I replied with a smile. "So, David, why are you living on the streets? Where are your parents?" "I don't have any family. I ran away from home when I was 16 because my parents were fighting all the time. I thought I could make it on my own, but I was wrong. I've been on the streets ever since." "It's been 5 years," I answered honestly. Alex nodded understandingly. "I'm sorry you had to go through that. I didn't mean to ask, but do you have a job? How do you make money?" "Sometimes people give me money when they see me begging. That's how I survive," I said quietly. "Well, that won't be necessary anymore. Starting today, You'll live with us, and I'll make sure you get a job so you can support yourself, Alex said firmly. But I don't want to be a burden to you. I can still beg on the streets. No, David, you're not a burden. I insist. And besides, you won't have to beg anymore. There's a supermarket nearby that needs someone to stock the shelves. You can start working there tomorrow. He was so determined that I knew arguing was useless. So I agreed to let him help me. In the morning, I woke up early and went to the bathroom to freshen up. When I came out, everyone was gathered in the living room and they were all staring at me. David, I want you to meet some friends of mine, Alex said. They're going to help you find a place to live and get a job. Each person introduced themselves one by one. There was Michael, a stocky man with a friendly face, Sophia, a pretty woman with long flowing hair, and Thomas, a lanky guy with a mischievous grin. They were all smiles and gave me a warm welcome. I couldn't help but feel touched by their kindness. After they left, Alex and I headed out to check out apartments together. Don't worry, David, I'll pay for everything, he said when we stopped in front of a modern apartment building. We visited a few apartments before finding one that met our requirements. It had 2 bedrooms, a spacious living room, and a fully equipped kitchen. The landlord was a middle-aged woman who seemed satisfied with me being a tenant. I paid 3 months' rent in advance and moved in right away. Alex helped me carry my belongings, which consisted of a few pieces of clothing and a backpack. As soon as I unpacked, he came over to me and said, David, I want to tell you something. What is it, Alex? I asked, noticing the seriousness in his voice. Do you remember when I brought you food, a blanket and a sleeping bag? I didn't actually buy them. I took them from my house. I've always taken care of homeless people. It's a hobby of mine. Oh, I didn't know. I thought you bought them. Thank you so much for saving my life, Alex. If it weren't for you, I wouldn't be alive today. He waved his hand dismissively. No, David, we all helped save your life. Remember my friends Michael, Sophia, and Thomas? They're the ones who gave you that job at the supermarket. I just helped you move in here. Well, I'm still grateful to you. How can I ever repay you? By being a good friend and taking care of yourself. And David, always remember that if you ever need anything, you can count on me and my friends. I smiled, touched by his generosity. Thanks, Alex. I promise I won't let you down. A few weeks passed, and I started to feel comfortable in my new home. I liked my job at the supermarket. My colleagues were nice to me, and the manager was always smiling. Alex often invited his friends over, and we had fun times playing board games and watching movies. I felt like I finally belonged somewhere. One evening, while we were having dinner together, I turned to Alex and said, Alex, I want to thank you again for everything you've done for me. If it weren't for you, I'd probably still be on the streets. No, David, we're friends. I'm just glad you're doing well now. And hey, you don't have to thank me. I like helping people. At that moment, I noticed something different about Alex. He was unusually quiet and seemed a little sad. Is everything okay, Alex? I asked him, concerned. He sighed and looked down at his plate. Yes, it's nothing. I just miss my parents. What, why? Because they abandoned me when I was little. I grew up in an orphanage and no one has ever loved me since. That's why I take care of homeless people. I know what it's like to feel unwanted. I reached out and patted his shoulder in sympathy. I'm sorry, Alex. I didn't know. If there's anything I can do to help, just let me know. He forced a smile. Thanks, David. You're a good friend. Come on, let's change the subject. Let's talk about something more cheerful. And that's what we did. We talked about our favorite movies, hobbies, and dreams for the future. For a while, I forgot about Alex's sadness and focused on making him laugh. As the weeks went by, my life became more stable and fulfilling. I had a job, a place to live, and wonderful friends. One day, I decided it was time to show Alex and his friends that I was grateful for everything they had done for me. So I baked them a cake and invited them over for a little get-together. When they arrived, I presented them with the cake and told them, I just wanted to say thank you for saving my life. I don't know what I would have done without you guys. David, you're like family to us. We love you and are happy to have you in our lives, Alex said with a big smile. Thomas raised his glass. To David, may your life always be filled with happiness and success. Yeah, to David, Michael and Sophia added. We ate cake, drank coffee, and played games, laughing and talking until late into the night. I was so happy to have such great friends who cared about me. They had given me hope for the future and shown me that no matter how difficult life may be, there is always something to be grateful for. Now, whenever I feel down or need help, I remember the valuable lesson Alex taught me. True friendship can change your life forever.